moved here when I was about 4 years old, and I've been here all the way since I was 18 years old. This is the house that I used to live in. Really, this place defined who I was, because if you ask anyone what are my hobbies or my interests, everyone would always say sports. And it really started from here. And here we would play all different kinds of sports. Between the two walls, we use that as soccer goals, and the fence being the goal. Those light poles that are in the corner, we use those as basketball courts. And then the wall, we use that to play handball all the time. Every once in a while, we play baseball too. The center being the pitch, you'd have to run from here to like in the middle over here to there. And then we also have games of soccer, that being one goal, and then over there being the other goal. And we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. In this house, I also share a lot of memories with families. We'd always have parties right here. One person will climb up in this roof, another one in the other roof, and that's where we'd hang the piñatas at. Tables would be scattered here. There'd be a big jumper right there. Here, this is where all my best friends used to be at. I used to be in B. Miguel and his cousins would be in D. Mitchell in C. Then another boy named Christian would live right here in C. And then Peter would live over there all the way at E. And we'd always get together and have games. It'd always be about 10 people. And eventually, little by little, people started moving out. First ones was Peter. And then was Christian, and then there was Miguel. But when people leave, of course, people come back, and that's when I met Julio that went to E, and then we started playing soccer together. And then from there, just a whole different story on how things escalated to just being able to play here to being able to play in the real world, playing in high school, playing in middle school, and then playing for clubs. One of the places that means the most to me and probably made me who I am is my elementary school, Lehigh Elementary. And it wasn't because I went to elementary there, it's because that's where I spent most of my free time. A lot of times, me, my brother, friends, we'd always go to Lehigh to play all kinds of sports. We played basketball, football, soccer. We went all out, and in reality, Lehigh is where I guess I started to make new friends, and I started to realize that I need to make a name for myself. Because when you play pickup games a lot, I guess you record over there. Because when I would play pickup games a lot, and I would play right there on those courts, a lot of people I didn't know. So what I was forced to do is I was forced to, I guess, make new friends. You know, because when you play a sport without communication, and you're just individuals playing against a team. So I learned to communicate more. I learned to be more out there. And doing so, that's how I made more friends. That's how I made more connections. And when you play the game of basketball or soccer or anything, once you start making new friends in the sport, eventually they ask you to come play with them somewhere else. And then I eventually started playing from Lehigh, went to Montclair High, went to the Shark Parks, went to all different kinds of basketball courts just because people invited me. And eventually you just make a connection like that. This was my whole, that's the alleyway, this is the whole town. I would spend most of my times when I would want to eat either right here at this Best Market, which is minutes walking, really just one or two, or I would come right here to this 7-Eleven for my hot dogs and taquitos. Video store over there. And then but if you go 2 blocks down, there's a place called Rocky's Pizza that probably has the most memorable memories of all. We first went there when I was a kid, me, my mom, my brothers, my whole family basically. And eventually it got to the point where my mom's work schedule got in the way and we weren't allowed to go with her on Fridays anymore. She was busy. So then we started making a tradition with friends. Rocky's Pizza right there. I think it's been there for over 20 years. I started working here on April while I was a senior in high school, and basically stayed here until this is where I was for 2.5 years.